At first, he only sent voice notes. That's how it always starts. This is a story about a different kind of horror, one that's quiet, realistic, and unfolds entirely through a smartphone screen. When Samuel and Amina arrived in England, they were like so many others, overwhelmed but filled with hope. A new country meant new rules, new systems, and a whole lot of new risks. They didn't know anyone personally, but they had a number. It seemed like everyone had the number. A cousin had told them, "He helps people. He knows how the system works. Just message him." The contact name in their phone was simple, Helper UK, so Samuel sent a message. "Hello, we are new here. We were told you can help." Within minutes, a reply came back. The voice was warm, confident, and incredibly reassuring. "Welcome," it said. "I can help you with work. I can help you with housing. I can help you with your papers." He didn't ask for any money up front. All he asked for was respect and loyalty. In a foreign country where everything felt uncertain, that sounded like an act of kindness. And just like that, the helper delivered. He found Samuel night shifts at a warehouse. Cash in hand, no questions asked. He arranged a room for them in a shared house through someone he trusted. The rent was to be paid weekly, always in cash, to a man who would knock on their door every Sunday. Every single instruction came through WhatsApp. Voice notes, screenshots of maps, and short, cryptic warnings. "Don't talk too much at work. Don't give your real details to anyone. Let me handle it." Very quickly, Samuel stopped making his own decisions. Why would he? The helper always seemed to know better. When Samuel considered a different job he saw advertised, the helper sent a voice note. "That place is trouble. Stick with what I gave you." And Samuel would listen. Dependence wasn't a sudden fall. It was a slow, comfortable slide. Then the rules began to appear. They started subtly, mixed in with helpful advice. Don't miss a single shift. Don't argue with the landlord about the heating. Don't talk to your neighbors. They are gossips. Don't answer unknown numbers. They were presented as ways to keep them safe, to stay under the radar. But Amina started to notice something strange. It was a pattern. Whenever Samuel disobeyed, even in a small way, something would go wrong almost immediately. He once complained to a colleague about the long hours, and the next day his shift was canceled. He mentioned to the landlord that the rent was high, and the following week it was increased. It felt impossibly connected, as if the helper had eyes and ears everywhere. It felt coordinated. The helper didn't just organize their work and housing. He began to control their access to the outside world. He was a gatekeeper of information. When Amina suggested they should register with a local doctor, the helper's reply came instantly. "That's risky right now. It puts you on a list." When Samuel asked about opening a bank account to save some money, the answer was firm. "Wait, you'll expose yourself." It's not safe. Slowly but surely, every normal, safe option became dangerous in their minds. The only safe path was the one the helper laid out for them. They stopped asking anyone else for advice, stopped looking up information online. What was the point? It felt like he always knew when they had. He'd send a message just as they were thinking of doing something different. "I heard you were asking about..." Be careful. The first real threat came disguised as concern. It was a voice note, delivered in that same calm, slow tone. "I'm hearing things," the voice said. "People are talking about you, saying you're asking too many questions. You need to be very, very careful." Samuel's hands shook as he listened. The helper never raised his voice. He didn't need to. The quiet menace was far more terrifying than any shout. The message was clear. I am watching. Soon, the helper began asking for things in return. It wasn't money, not at first. It was favors. He'd ask Samuel to give a favorable shift to one of his friends. He'd instruct them to let a stranger, another newcomer, stay in their small room for a few nights. Then he started asking for information. What's the name of that new guy at your work? What's the address of the family in flat number 3? Who is working without papers? Who is desperate? That's when Samuel realized a horrifying truth. They weren't clients, they weren't people being helped. They were assets. They were his eyes and ears on the ground, a node in his network of control. They were just as trapped as the people they were being asked to inform on. The breaking point came when Amina finally argued back. She had had enough. She told Samuel they had to get out, to stop replying, to block the number and just disappear. We can start fresh on our own, she pleaded. This isn't help, it's a prison. They argued late into the night. That same night, Samuel received a message. Just a few lines of text this time. Your wife is being emotional. That can cause problems for everyone. Let her stay quiet for a while. The next morning, Amina didn't come back from her early morning cleaning job. Her phone just rang and rang unanswered. Samuel messaged the helper in a blind panic. Where is Amina? What have you done? The reply came almost immediately. A voice note. Still calm, still in control. Don't panic, Samuel. She's safe. But you need to listen very carefully now. You need to cooperate. And in that moment, the full, chilling reality crashed down on him. The helper didn't just know where they lived. He knew where everyone lived. He knew who had legal papers and who didn't. He knew who could go to the police and who was terrified of them. He knew who would be believed and who would be dismissed or, worse, deported. The police were never mentioned in their conversations. They didn't need to be. The threat of official systems was a weapon he used without ever touching it. Amina returned 2 days later. She was physically unharmed, but something inside her was broken. She was silent, withdrawn, and her eyes were filled with a fear he had never seen before. She wouldn't say where she'd been or who she'd been with. She just looked at him, and he knew. The argument was over. They never contacted the helper again, and he never contacted them, but the damage was done. They moved to a different city, found legitimate work, and slowly built a life. But even now, years later, Samuel still feels a jolt of panic when his phone buzzes at night. He's afraid of seeing a new notification, of hearing a new voice note, because the helper never blocked them. He just stopped replying. He left the door open, a silent reminder that he was still out there. The most terrifying prison they ever lived in had no walls. It had no bars. It fit inside a phone. It spoke politely, and it knew exactly how much fear was enough to control a life. This is a new face of exploitation, a modern horror story happening in the shadows of our hyper-connected world. Thanks for listening. If you found this story compelling, please consider subscribing for more deep dives into the unseen struggles of our time.